Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, which means it's my favorite day of the week because I get to hang out with you guys. Today, I'm super excited because we are doing something that we haven't done in like 6 weeks. It's been too long since we've done this, but we usually, like once every 6 to 8 weeks or so, we do a live product or live niche research kind of thing together. So I'm actually going to show you behind the scenes of how I found certain products or certain niches that might be something that you guys would be looking to get into over the next 90 days. One of them we are going to talk about is back to school. So that one is going to take the most precedence considering the timeline that we have. So obviously when this is going live, it is July 17th today. And back to school is usually between like August 5th through August like 31st. So we're going to have to do that quickly if you're wanting to kind of go ahead and grab some of those sales. That's going to take the most precedence, but we're also going to talk a little bit about fall weddings and stuff as well. So with that said, I plan on not keeping you guys here too long today. I'm just going to literally show you the products as I found them and also show you how I got there as well. So let's go ahead and share my screen. Here we go. So as you can see, we are doing the live product research today. I am also going to go ahead, I never remember to do this. I'm going to go ahead and open Chrome as well, just so that you and I can go back and forth within the EverBee Chrome extension. Let me go ahead and make sure that I am logged in. And I'm going to show you some things that have kind of changed, but in a good way for you guys. Obviously, this is only trying to help you guys out. So we're going to show you a little bit of behind the scenes for product analytics with some changes that happened over the past week as well. But let's go ahead and do this first. I'm actually going to go ahead and make some things a little bit smaller real quick so I can see you guys and I can also see my screen. Here we go. Beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to zoom out. Sorry. All right. So the first thing that we're going to do is what I basically always do is go into Etsy, which by the way, guys, I'm looking at Etsy, Pinterest, and Amazon today. I didn't just do Etsy, especially if you guys are utilizing EverBee Store to make money. I want to make sure that I'm showing things that are doing well in multiple spaces, not just Etsy. But I wanted to make sure I also showed my Etsy peeps what was going on with the product research today. And then I also wanted to go ahead and take a look at different types of sellers. So not just print-on-demand sellers, not just digital product sellers, but what could we do that could encompass all of them, okay? So the first thing that I usually do, let me see if I can bring this baby over real quick. Sorry, I have like, as you guys know, if you've been here for a while, I have 3 screens that I have to figure out where they are, where each of these individual things are. Hold on one sec. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up. Here we go, right here. Beautiful. All right, so I'm pulling up Chrome now. So what I wanted to show you real quick is actually how I got to the original place where I was. So the first thing was I like to come up here and then just see what Etsy is already telling me is doing well. So first of all, when you log into Etsy, I'm not sure if you guys are seeing the same thing, but when I logged into Etsy, the very first thing that I am seeing is literally, oh, sorry, one second. My Wi-Fi is doing something weird. It is cutting out my face. One sec. Hope you guys can still hear me. All right, so it's showing us right here back to school, but what I want to be very, very cautious of and mindful of for you guys is usually if something is trending on the Etsy homepage, so like this guy right here, that usually means that we are really, really cutting it close to getting things live. So what I mean by that is basically by, I would say, September 1st through September 30th, you're more than likely going to see some Halloween stuff here. From, let's say, when's, I think Thanksgiving is like November 27th or something, 28th of this year. So you're more than likely going to see October 15th through October 31st. This is going to look a little Thanksgiving-y. So the reason why I'm bringing that up is if you see something in this area, it doesn't mean that you should jump on it immediately, but it also doesn't mean that you should sway away from it. I just really want you guys to try to get that 60 to 90 day listing mark up as as early as you possibly can, before we start seeing things here. However, what we're going to go over today also is, first of all, it's based on numbers. It's fully data backed. So that's also going to help us understand that there might be some other things to kind of tap into, that are not just your standard old run of the mill back to school stuff. So we're going to do that together today first, but we also want to consider if we can make our things one of two things: either one, the most unique, but still being able to be found. So something that people are still going to want and demand, then you can go ahead and start listing stuff now for back to school. Also, if you are a digital seller, people buy digital stuff, especially print on demand sellers, because they would probably want like your design to pop on some of their stuff. People have those digital products go up or purchase them literally up until back to school. So let's say back to school, is 8/5 through 8/31, like I mentioned a second ago. People are literally purchasing this up through 8/31. Okay. So that was one thing I wanted to note here. If you see something here and you're a digital product seller, you're in the clear. Go ahead and get as many listings as you can up during this period. Obviously, I want you guys to think ahead of time and be very forward thinking and get these things up even faster. But if we see this here and you're a digital product seller, we're in the clear. If you're a print on demand or handmade seller, we just need to make sure that we are very unique in order to make this happen, and in order to get sales, because once it's on the homepage, we might be just a little bit late. Okay, hope that makes sense. But the next thing I wanted to go over is also up here is the second, technically the first, but second place that I look at is gifts and whatever is here. So we have home favorites and back to school. If you're looking at this in the month of the end of February, beginning of March, it's going to say St. Patrick's Day. If you're looking at this the middle to end of October, it's going to say Thanksgiving. So again, these two things most of the time are going to connect. They are going to relate to each other. So this is what I usually do, is come into this general area right here on the Etsy homepage to get an idea of what we should be considering depending on what type of seller we are, right? And then I'll go into the gifts. And then I'll also kind of get an understanding of exactly what they are promoting right now. So we're seeing wedding, birthday, anniversary, thank you, blah, blah, blah. The good news is, I don't want to say good news per se, but something that you'll notice over time as you start utilizing the gifts feature a little bit more is there will be other things added right here in the front. So Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever, all of those things are going to start popping up. Labor Day even. Those things are going to start popping up right here and push these guys to the right, okay? So I just wanted to show you that real fast so that you understand where I'm getting those from. And I'm going to go ahead and share my other screen real quick. I wish there was an easier way to just have all the screens being shown. That would be super helpful. All right, now I'm going to pop this guy over here so that I can see you guys and see my screen. All right, so like I said, just where I was showing you where I was getting those things, wanted to be very transparent, so that you guys can be in the know with me and where I'm actually getting these things from. So we went into gifts, right? We have that little highlighted piece right here. And the first thing that I was noticing, like I mentioned a second ago, was weddings. So I went ahead and looked up just on Google, because I was curious. I actually got married in June of 2020, and I'm used to seeing things that's like, have you guys ever seen the movie Bride Wars? It's with Kate Hudson and Anne Hathaway, and Anne Hathaway. And it was a really, really funny movie back when I was like in high school or so. I absolutely loved it. It's basically just them like fighting for the same date, June, at the Plaza Hotel in New York City. So I've just always been on this train that like June was the best month for weddings. And then I got married in June, and then I realized that is not true at all, because first of all, it is one of the most expensive months. And it's also one of the most like booked months. But because of that, if you are not planning ahead, it is also something that you were unable to get for potentially years. Okay. So I got married in front of a tree with like 4 people. So I did not have to worry about a wedding and anything like that. So I decided to look it up, and I was just assuming it was June and July, maybe August. But what I'm seeing is June is the 3rd most popular. But October and September are the top 2 months, which, by the way, this has gone back since 2020, potentially even further than that. But this is as far as I went, was for the past 5 years, October and September have reigned as it relates to the best time, the biggest months to get married or have a wedding. So with that knowledge, what I'm saying is, okay, it's July 17th. Awesome. I need to figure out a way, if I'm not already, to get into the wedding niche in a very smart way, rather than just popping up the same old that we see on Etsy over and over again. So when I figured that out, I also started to go through these things, and I found first dance song gifts and then matching honeymoon gear. Those were the two that stood out to me the most, where I think that we could have the highest impact. But of course, go through the wedding gifts section of Etsy if you'd like. Use your product analytics tool with EverBee and go through all of these. If it's something that makes sense for your brand, let's say you're doing mugs, for example, these couples mugs would be great. Let's say you're doing iron or wood home decor, something like these last name signs would be great as well. So go ahead and do your own research there. But I decided to tap into the first dance and the honeymoon sets. So while I was in Etsy, I saw first dance song. So all I did, by the way, which I can't show you, I wish I would have recorded it, but I can't record it and then also go live. so I can't really show you exactly what I did to get here this morning. But I was in Etsy with my EverBee Chrome extension, and I just typed in first dance because I didn't want to necessarily do this like what Etsy was telling me to do. I was like, what can I do potentially outside of that, but still inside of that? Hope that makes sense. So I did first dance, nothing else. And then I found song was 1067, song gift 1027, and then lyrics 976. So this sent me down a whole other rabbit hole to figure out, okay, we have a lot of people looking this up, but we also have like the almost exact same amount of people looking this up, and then pretty comparable to lyrics as well. So which one of these should we move forward with in our research? Well, I just did a lot more than I probably should have, to be honest. So I went ahead and typed in first dance. So I kind of like got into the keyword research tool. Come back up here for a second so you're not distracted. I got into the keyword research tool and I did this. And then I was like, well, what if I know that these are potentially keywords or long tail key phrases that we could possibly use for SEO. But what if I took all of the back ends off and just did first dance? What would that give me? Okay, so I did that. And then I went ahead and filtered as well. So I want to show you guys the filter. So listing age, I put it at a maximum of 12 months. Total sales, so how much this has, any of these listings have made totally, I went ahead and did it at a a minimum of 50 per month. And then that ended up giving me a total of 58. So first dance alone, not with song, not with lyrics, not with gift, we are given these information, okay? So the other thing I wanted to show you real fast while we're here is a little bit of the product analytics dashboard has changed since we last were in here together. And you'll see it's this blue section is the thing that changed. So what used to be monthly sales is now just sales. What used to be monthly revenue is now just revenue. And then we added trends and growth rate. So I wanted to show you guys this because this is something that I am personally using to do our research today. And by golly, it was so much faster than every other research I have done live with you guys by simply being able to do this. So 300%. 200%. It is so much freaking easier for me to come in and look at these numbers and then vet them rather than vetting each of the individual listings, because now EverBee is showing us a growth rate for that individual listing. And now we also know that I'm only at a listing age of maximum of 12. So that means that all of these listings that are 200%, 50, 300, whatever percent growth increase are from things that were born over the past year. Like, can't go higher than that because I have that filter. Not only that though, but we are also having a minimum of 50 sales. Okay, so having those filters and then having this growth rate section right here has made my research time cut in half. So I wanted to make sure that you guys were familiar with how to utilize these. And by all means, if you also wanted to filter the growth rate, you totally could. So let's say you wanted none of these to pop up. So like, we don't like those. Those red ones that are pointing down, we don't like them. Maybe we only want things that are 1% and above. 40% and above, whatever, you can pop that right here in the max and min. Okay, so that is that. But let's go ahead and scroll down and see what I found. So I'm noticing, let's see if I can scroll out a little bit, make this a little bit bigger for you guys. One second. There we go. Sorry, I'm looking at two different screens right now, making sure you guys can see what I see. All right, so the things that I was noticing here, when I typed in first dance, our song lyrics were still coming up, okay? So it's proof, we did the math, the data is there. It is proof that the first dance song lyrics is doing something well on Etsy. So what I was noticing was this right here. First of all, I'm like 99% sure this is a mock-up and it's not the actual seller. So we could easily get this. I say easily, you gotta go find the mock-up, but we could easily get something like this or even make it with AI, as long as it's the mock-up. We're not gonna sell AI stuff, but we're gonna use AI for our mock-ups. That's totally fine. So what I liked about this was, I don't know exactly what size this is. I didn't look it up in the thing. There's like obviously a size chart down here. But what I liked was this is a, let's just call it like a wall, like framed wall art or something of the sort. Okay. So if I go into, one second, let me log into Printify real fast, because a lot of you guys might be like, oh, this is awesome. It's beautiful, but like, I can't make that because I'm a print on demand seller. Well, I have good news for you, because if we go into the catalog, and I promise I'm going to pull this up on my other screen. I just need to get there first. Let's see. Yeah, this is what I'm looking for. All right, let me go ahead and share this tab. So I am in Printify right now. And if you guys are a print on demand seller, look at all of these options that we have. I personally use this one. I love this one because it kind of comes with its own little like inlay for the item. So there's like white here, and then you can put your thing in the middle. There's plenty of other ones though that's like this, doesn't really have that much of a frame at all. This one is much larger than the other ones. This one has a little bit of a thicker box frame than the others. And then this one is a white and or black one. I also really like this one because it comes in a smaller size too. So being able to have the ability to do, here we go, this style as a print on demand seller, as a handmade seller, and oh, guess what? Also as a digital product seller, you could make these custom and just flip them without having to print them at all. Like as a digital product seller, you could make this from scratch, personalize it every single time that someone has a new thing to give to you. Now you can see this is almost $40 and it's in 20 plus carts right now. It's only 8 months old. I see this getting that much heavier in volume as we get closer and closer to the September and October months. But the good thing about this as well, something like this, and I'm going to also come over here in a second, I promise. I'm not just going to stay on this one. But the good thing about this as well is, what else could this be? Of course, it could be the gift for the wedding people, right? A honeymoon gift, whatever, first dance gift. But it could also be an anniversary gift. It could also be a Christmas gift. It could also be a birthday gift for either the wife or husband, wife or wife, husband or husband, right? So keeping that in mind, that this is, even though it came up as first dance song gift or first dance song lyrics, it is an evergreen product because this can sell all year long. Plus, it is also an evergreen product because, like I showed you a second ago, yes, the biggest months are technically October and September, but people get married all year long, every year. So that's another thing too, is keeping in mind people always have birthdays. There is always Christmas that comes around once a year. There is always weddings and there's always anniversaries. So something of this nature could do stinking well all year long rather than just in the September and October big wedding months. Another thing I was looking at was, I kind of liked this idea. Because if you have someone who's into music, if you have someone who's into vintage, this could be a really, really awesome option for them. And by the way, every single type of seller could do this. The only thing that would change is this is obviously kind of like what looks like a cutout sort of thing. But I'm gonna be real honest. Let me just go into Canva real fast. I'm gonna show you guys something. I don't know if it's gonna work. I'm doing this on the spot, so I don't know if this is gonna look dumb or not, but I'm gonna try to show you something. Let's just do flyer for now. I'll share my screen in a second, I promise. All right, we're both looking at the same thing now. All right, so what I'm thinking, and I don't know if this is gonna work. Again, like I said, we're doing this in real time, so be kind to me if it doesn't work. But what I'm thinking is, no, we might not be able to make that exact concept. Let me go back over here so I can show you real fast. All right, so we might not be able to cut this piece of paper out and get Printify to print it, right? We're all aware of that. But what we could do is come over into Canva or in Adobe Illustrator or in Adobe Premiere Pro, wherever you are at that you are doing these designs. Well, that was annoying. I don't know why it left me. Hold on. Let me try to share my tab again. There we go. So what we could do is, let me pull out a little bit, go to Elements, burnt paper. Let's see what happens. All right, this is what I was looking for. All right, so if we go into graphics, we can find a little bit of these burnt edges. I don't know if this is going to work. Like I said, it looks kind of tacky for this particular example, but there is a way that we could potentially have these be what actually gets printed by utilizing, let's just say I turn this around, by utilizing a transparent background. Okay, so let's say we make it as big as this guy right here, and we come down here and we do the exact same thing. Again, I'm just playing around with this in real time, guys, so don't quote me. but if we do this concept, oh no, not that way, the other way. Sorry. There we go. So if we do this concept all the way down, for example, something of that nature that would allow it to kind of look like it was burnt, and then all we have to do is download with a transparent background, and then the white disappears right here. So this does not exist anymore, only the burnt edges do. So that is another way just to kind of get a little bit creative and think about how we could possibly, oh, let me share my screen in, sorry. How we could possibly emulate that same concept that is proven to do well, okay? So I hope that makes sense. I also just love the idea of like the music lyrics in the actual music notes. So like the actual sheet music being really cool, because a lot of people are just gonna do this. And you can, but there's gonna be a lot more competition than if you get the sheet music personalized version of it, okay? So I hope that makes sense. Wanted to show you those two examples that I really, really loved in the first song section. The next thing I came into, again, let me go back up here so you guys can see where I'm getting this from. So under gifts, under wedding, I also saw matching honeymoon gear. And that got me thinking, same exact concept as above. What if I just typed in honeymoon into the search bar, see what happens? So I saw honeymoon set pop up for almost 1,000, and then honeymoon bag at 573. So this is still a very viable option. You can definitely look through here. That's why I'm giving you guys this so that you could do further research yourself. But I decided to go in the direction of the honeymoon set, okay? So what I also did was I went ahead and went into Amazon and I was like, is this just an Etsy thing? Or are people absolutely looking for this right now? So when I went into Amazon, again, just typing in the one word, outfits, outfits for women, gifts, and shirts, those were some of the biggest ones in here. So I do think that honeymoon sets or honeymoon outfits is something that is going to peak over the next couple of months. But again, understanding that this could also be an evergreen approach because honeymoons also happen all year long. All right, so you'll see I went ahead and found honeymoon set in the product analytics. I'm gonna pull this over a little bit. There we go. And I also did total sales, total sales minimum of 50, listing age max of 12, right? And then we're also seeing a 200% here, a 200% here, all these different things. We're seeing that there's 45 listings that match those filters, all right? So what I found, which I'm gonna zoom in a little bit because I don't wanna give away my secret sauce quite yet. So what I found here was this is a set, which is these are just really popular right now. I forgot what they're called, but it's like like the baby rib tee. It's like that same concept that's trending, but in a tank top. I don't personally like them because I have this area that I don't like. So I don't necessarily want to accentuate that area with my clothes, but this is like a really, really popular trend right now, this style of tank top. However, what's also doing really, really well across the board, and it has been for like the past year and a half, 2 years, is embroidered options. And that is the reason why Printify brought in so many embroidered options, because those things were trending, so that they knew that the demand was there. So this one's getting 61 monthly sales. It is a set, right? So you're getting both of these. That's why they're able to sell this at a higher price. So that's a really good idea to be able to have both of these together. So it's $66, but they have a little bit of a sale right now. It's in 20 plus carts right now. It's only 4 months old. So what I went ahead and did for you guys is I went into Printify to try to see if I could mimic this concept. And unfortunately, I was unable to mimic the tank top, but I think what could also be helpful is maybe a bathing suit top. Printify does have that. Maybe just a regular tank top with screen printing that doesn't have to be embroidered, and then we just embroider the joggers. We embroider the sweatpants. That's also an option. The baby rib tee, like I mentioned a second ago, all of those things would pair very, very well with these sweatpants. It was just this particular style of tank I was unable to get in embroidery, but you can get a very similar option with screen printing. So wanted to let you know they do have the unisex fleece sweatpants. So when we say matching set or honeymoon set, the best part is this doesn't just have to be for a female. This could actually be something where not only is it tank color and size, sweatpant color and size, but it's like bride sweatpant color, groom sweatpant colors, because this is allowing you to do so by being a unisex. And then you can see here, if I zoom in a little bit more, right there is where they offer the actual design to be embroidered, which is matching what we have here. Okay. So I think this could be a really, really interesting opportunity. When we think of honeymoon set, your mind might have automatically went to groom and bride matching sets, right? But I think it's really cool that this seller is doing exceptionally well, creating a set for one person. Another example of a honeymoon set could be a matching bikini set, which, by the way, again, if I come up here real fast, I will share my screen in just a second. I think it's under bikini. There we go. So I don't like this personally, but there are matching bikini sets. I wonder if there's also, I thought there was a bathing suit on here. For some reason, it's not coming up anymore. But there's also, let's type in swim. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, so if you type in swim, for some reason, bathing suit is not what they like, but you're going to have a lot of male examples. There's also just this random t-shirt, ignore that. But then we have a one piece. We have a one piece with the, whatever you call that, like spaghetti strap concept. We have a bikini, and then we have a vintage style for the females as well. So just something to think about, that might also be an option for set, knowing that honeymoon set is currently trending. Moving on to the next thing that I was thinking about for sets is being able to have a set for travel. So a custom luggage tag matching a custom passport cover. So as you can see, these are both in Printify. So if you are not a leather maker yourself, these obviously can be done for our handmade people. If you are making leather the options yourself, I do recommend maybe looking down this avenue, just because this is not only something that is going to be for honeymoons, even though we can utilize honeymoon set. That's how I found this one, by the way. You can use honeymoon set. You can use destination wedding, of course, but this is also just something like, I'm going to Costa Rica in 2 months, right? August, yes, 2 months. I was like, what day is it? So I'm going to Costa Rica in 2 months. So this would be really cool for me too, because I would love to have something that's matching rather than my non-matching aesthetic that I currently have. So keeping in mind that this right here is also an evergreen product as well. And if you are a print-on-demand seller, you can grab both of these from Printify. All right. Next up, I went ahead and also went the direction of what we talked about that your mind might have automatically went to, the groom versus bride set, right? But this is technically a set of sets, right? You with me? Okay, so it could be a groom matching set, a bride matching set, or a set for both the groom and bride. So what I loved about this is they just took a very trendy font. This thing always does well. They also took the trend of embroidery. They also took the trend of being able to write something on a sleeve. This is something that has done well for basically the past 2.5 years. A kid's name or something on the sleeve for a grandma's crew neck, whatever. In this case, they put the date and then 2 little rings. And then obviously it's different colors, white and black and gold and white. So I really love this idea. And of course, this right here can definitely be made on Printify. This right here can also be made on Printify. So if we go back in here, let me go back to embroidery real quick. Share my screen. So if we go back into embroidery on Printify, you're going to see a Gildan 18,000 right here. You're also going to see a Comfort Colors 1566. So these are the 2 best sellers in the crew neck space, and you can absolutely embroider them because I'm in the embroidery section, but you also might be able to come in and do a sleeve right here with screen printing as well. Cool. So I hope that makes sense. That's what I was looking for Honeymoon sets, thinking about for 1 person, thinking about for 1 luggage, and thinking about for 2 people over the next couple of months. All right, next up, I went ahead and went back to the original concept we talked about when we first got on here, was the first day of, or the, excuse me, the back to school concept. So when I did that, I started looking at, I just typed in back to school, to be honest. And the thing that was popping up the most was first day of school. So then I was like, all right, let me go ahead and type that in next. So I went to the keyword research tool. Also went into Amazon and did first day of school. And what I'm seeing come up was shirt, board, and sign. And they are all pretty equivalent. They're all very, very close to each other. Shirt being the winner, sign being in the next, and board being right behind. When I went to Amazon, we're also seeing sign here, shirt here, board here again, but we're also seeing a teacher shirt and gifts for students. So those are some other things that popped up on Amazon that didn't pop up originally on Etsy. So other things that you guys could be typing into the search bar. Again, I'm giving you as many things that you can do this week to kind of see what you might want to list in your own shops, whether it be Etsy or EverBee store shops. These are some other ones that you might want to look into. Teacher shirt and gifts for students, maybe even book as well, but I'm not entirely sure what would come up for that. So just keep that in mind. So what I did was I went ahead and dropped in, let's see, yeah, shirt here. So first day of school shirt. And I did even better filters because again, we are trying to see what is happening right now, what is doing well right now, because we are not behind, but we got a little bit of catching up to do as it relates to back to school, because we are basically a month to a month and a half out. So we are a little bit cutting it close. So I wanted to make the listing age less than 6 months or anything that was born over the past 6 months. And again, a total sales minimum of 50. What made me really happy to see was there was a lot of green. So in our growth rates, we're seeing 400%, 200, 100%, and 100% right here as well. So yes, there are only 56 listings that match those parameters, but of the 56 listings, there is a really, really good percentage of good percentages. Okay, so I was really happy to see that. So let's take a little look into what those looked like. This is the one that I saw. This is the one that's at 2,100% growth rate and 800% growth rate. So these are 2 different sellers, by the way. So if you see Now Gift and the Small Town Gift Co., 2 totally different sellers, but they are doing the exact same concept, which is like patchwork, which if you were on our what was that called? Trends in the Wild series that we did back in, I want to say it was May, it might have been April. But that's basically where I go out into actual stores. So I was in, where was I? Target, Home Goods, I think. Target, Home Goods, and Urban Outfitters, I believe, are the 3 places that I went. And this was one of the, actually 2, 3. This is so funny. It's actually 3 different trends. 4. Yeah, 3. Okay, I was like, oh my God, is there another one? This is 3 different trends from the Trends in a Wild Part 1 series back in May in one t-shirt. So the first trend was patchwork. So the concept that like this is like sewn in, even though we know it's not, right? So kind of a sewn in concept there. Then there was also the concept of the seersucker striped pattern. So that's this guy right here. Then there was another trend called gingham, which is this right here. So it's these baby checkers is what I'm going to call them. So this right here is a gingham pattern. This is a seersucker pattern. And then this is a patchwork pattern. So it's just really, really cool to see my Trends in the Wild projections coming to fruition in one shirt. And even better to see that these are doing so well. So this was in 20 plus carts right now. This one has 20 plus views in the past 24 hours, an insane amount of numbers up here. And again, this is only 2 months old. This is only 3 months old. So if you have the ability to potentially build on these and make it a scalable design, matching the same kind of concept of including patchwork, gingham, and seersucker, this might, and then also custom colors, because good Lord, comfort colors, because that is just always doing well, substantially well all the time, pretty much any season at this point. And then knowing that this blue is also super trendy right now. I forgot what this blue is called, to be honest. Oh, it literally says it, blue jean. There we go. So this is blue jean, and this one's doing super well. There was also, what was the one that was doing well? It was like a sage color, but I can't remember the name of the color, but it was like that faded green was doing well earlier in the summer. Blue jean seems to be doing well late in summer. And I project things that are more in the brown, crimson, and terracotta colors are going to be doing good in the comfort color space over the next couple of months as we get into fall. So definitely something to look into. And like I said, this is obviously a scalable design because you can see both things. So by the way, it does not have to do anything with back to school. We can use this pattern and do nurse, veterinarian, coach. Like this could literally be anything, because they have proven that it has a proof of concept that this is a good design, and it's a design that's in demand. And this is a shirt color that's in demand. Can we possibly scale this out even further outside of the back to school space? The answer is 100% yes. You just got to get crafty with it. All right. The next thing I wanted to show you guys was this concept. This is for my digital product sellers, but also my print on demand and handmade. Okay. So like, this is something that every single person could do really, really well with, because they're trending right now. It's like the neon colors for all the different types of students. So let's say first grade, fifth grade, pre-K, whatever. And also these could be for teachers as well. So kindergarten teacher, pre-K teacher, first grade teacher, etc. This is currently up here. This is building off of the coquette concept that always does well in 20 plus carts, 20 plus views, in 20 plus carts, and 20 plus carts. So the good news is this is proof of concept again, that these styles of like neon, whatever you call this. The thing is that they're all different types, in my opinion. So there's a little bit of coquette. There's a little bit of retro. There's a little bit of, I don't even know what this is called. It has a name, like weathered kind of look. I can't think of the name of it. And then there's this that just takes me back to the 90s, you know? So it's not necessarily that one specific pattern is doing well, but all of these concepts are doing super well. Another thing I wanted to say for our digital product sellers is this thumbnail is performing and outperforming all other thumbnails. So this concept to show all the, maybe not all the different, but a good collection of the different options that you have in your bundle, this is obviously outperforming all of the other ones that just has the simple kindergarten or just has the simple first grade one. They're showing you that these are doing super well by having all of these best sellers right in one place. So I hope that helps whenever you're building out maybe a bundle option as a digital seller. It seems to be that these thumbnails are currently taking the cake. All right. Also, guys, as always, I hope you guys are getting your questions answered in the comments. It's either myself, I'm going to go ahead and respond to you if I can in real time, or my team is in there answering your questions. So please do not hesitate to let me know if you're loving these designs. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know which ones you've personally loved so far and you're thinking about adding into your store, or maybe you already have and you're excited to see that your research is now becoming proof of concept. Or of course, if you have any questions, just drop them in the live chat and my team will respond to them appropriately. Or if you are watching the replay of this, drop them in the comments of this video and I'm going to be the one that personally responds to those. So just wanted to make sure that you guys felt that you were able to ask questions as we go through, and my team should be jumping in on those. All right, the next thing that I jumped into was board. So I was seeing shirt was doing really, really well. And I was seeing that shirt digital downloads were doing well, which, by the way, I'm going to go back up here. Totally side note. All of these are digital products, but they are also all shown on apparel, right? What if we took this and put it on a tumbler? What if we took this and put it on a tote bag? Like, all of these different things could not only be scaled out as the design itself, but could also be scaled out on products, okay? The next thing, though, was the first day of school board. One second, I gotta take water. Oh, Lord. Woo! Woo, that's very spicy. Sorry, I just got liquid IV for my water so I can like be extra hydrated throughout the day. And it was just like a whole drop of that is what I just got in my water. It was like very, very lemon limey. All right, so when we're looking at first day of school board, to be honest, I don't have kids. I had no idea what this was. When I started looking into it, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense as to what these are. But there's so many of these that are doing exceptionally well. So I went ahead and actually adjusted my parameters a little bit. I had to, because this number of listings analyzed, when I did the original, which would have been 6 to 12 months max listing age and 50 minimum sales, was like 2,000. So I was like, well, I need less than that to look through. So I went ahead and bumped it up to 12 for listing age and bumped it up to 100 minimum for monthly sales. And we still have some really, really good ones that are coming in. So we can see 300 here, 100, 100. There was also I think like 3,000 one, and there was also an 800 one. And that's what I put down here. So I just cut them off on the photo above, so you can't see it. But what we're having here, which I really, really loved, was, let me see if I can go to, okay, yeah. I just want to make sure that I'm talking about one thing at a time. So what I loved about these guys, I'm going to see if I can try to make it a little bigger, but be able to see both of them. These were the giant ones. So like growth rate, even though they only have 79 monthly sales and 22 monthly sales, the growth rate over the past 12 months was exceptional. And it makes sense because people are, trying to get this ready for back to school. So this is 27 people actually purchased this in the last 24 hours. 20 people have this in their carts right now. But what I found was, if you guys are in the process or in the market to build these out, what I was noticing was interchangeable being a really, really big trending thing. So instead of having to rebuy this every single year, these people are actually selling interchangeable ones. So you get a first day of and last day of for this particular example. And then it has little whiteboard sections. So they don't have to buy this ever again, which is going to be really sexy to someone who is purchasing this. They can just fill out all of these little whiteboard sections one time or 20 times. It doesn't matter. Same thing here. These are all individually created, and I'm assuming like Velcro adhered concept of these little things that could be interchangeable as well. So that is what I was seeing over and over and over again in the board or sign space, is something that allows the customer to purchase once and then never have to again, even though they're more than likely going to come back and buy from you because they liked what you gave them. But I was just seeing interchangeable, reusable, all of those things were doing super well. When we get into the school sign, so it's the same concept, school board, school sign, but I wanted to go ahead and apply the same concept. It looked like there were more listings that were utilizing this long tail key phrase, but they might be using both. So if you guys are in this space, maybe think about using both, because obviously there are still a lot of listings on both of them that are in that total sales of 100. So the last one that I looked at for sign, which made me really even more excited, was this acrylic sign. So you can see first day school acrylic sign. So this is not wood, this is acrylic. And the reason I got excited about that was I have the ability to buy a couple of different things on Printify and do this as a print on demand seller. So if you guys have ever thought like, oh, I'd love to do that, but I can't, like, I don't have the capabilities. I don't have a CNC machine. I don't do woodworking. This one made me excited because if I let me share my other tab real fast. If we type in acrylic into the search bar, there are multiple different things that pop up. First of all, there's an acrylic wall clock that comes in different sizes or different shapes, which I loved, because this could definitely be something that a teacher would have. So like if we go onto Etsy and we look up like teacher clock, There we go. That could be really, really cool. We're also seeing this guy right here. So an acrylic wall art panel. And then it has those 4 little, I don't know what they're called, like 4 little screws that allow you to like screw into the wall. We're also seeing a photo block. So this can actually be one of those really cool things for this concept right here. So maybe a photo block that's a little bit thicker could be also another option. This is the one that I obviously have on our thing. Oh, one second. This looks like it's not sharing my screen again. One sec. One moment. It's mad at me. There we go. All right. So this is the one that I have on our training document today. I think there was another one that I saw, maybe not. Ornaments, whatever. So just something to think about, that you don't technically have to be a woodworking handmade seller to make something like this work. So I found this, guys, for you, and I was hoping this could be something that would get you as excited as it made me, because this is definitely something that, again, is interchangeable, by the way, because last day of, first day of, you can make 2 of these that say the same thing, and then it just be on acrylics instead. So I was excited about that. The next thing I saw was this first day of school, last day of school concept was obviously doing super well everywhere. But I also saw that this flag was doing pretty well over the past 6 months. I'm assuming it's something that you put in a photo. So like the kid like holds up the little pennant in a photo, potentially, is what I'm assuming this is. So I went ahead and found a pennant. It's a little bit different, obviously, but it could also do really well as like something that hangs on the back of a wall, and then the kid takes a photo in front of it. Might be an option. If you're not a handmade seller, this might be another option for our POD peeps. And one more. And then the last one is this guy I was seeing just in general in the kids space was doing exceptionally well. It's kind of like just a flower pattern. All these have been doing well for a really long time, but just also right now they are trending. Also, this is kind of like a Comfort Colors color, in my opinion. I don't know if it actually is. It doesn't say. I'm not sure exactly what this is, probably Gildan or so, but it looks a little bit Comfort Colors-y in the natural color. So I think that's why this is doing really well. And then I also know that this pattern has just been doing well like all year. So might be something to kind of look into as well. Custom kids names with something has done super, super well over the past couple of months. And I believe will continue to, because the good news is we were looking up things that's like back to school, obviously, or first day of school or whatever it is, but this also could be something that does all year long, literally all year, and it's personalizable, so it has a little bit more of an emotional appeal than just your standard kindergarten t-shirt. So just thinking out loud that like this is something that might do well for you guys as well. And then totally freaking random, but I found this thing that I wanted to show you guys because it has experienced such a ridiculous growth rate recently, is miniature paintings. So I'm not entirely sure how to do this, to be honest. I don't know if you guys are able to do like AI art paintings here if you're not actually an artist. I'm not actually 100% sure, but I just saw, and I wanted to let you guys know that this is doing super freaking well right now, and you're able to have a ridiculous price tag on it. So if you are a handmade seller, if you are an artist, if you are a painter, and you've been looking to find a way to like be a little bit more unique in your space, this might be it, because I'm seeing so many of these miniature paintings, and just miniature in general is doing super well for the past like year and a half or so. It just keeps getting better, and it keeps getting more unique, and more things keep shrinking and getting smaller and into miniature sizes, and people are loving it. They're eating it up. So totally unrelated to back to school, but I wanted to let you guys know that this is also a little like miscellaneous one that I saw that I thought was quite interesting if it's something you guys are interested in getting into. So with that said, guys, that is all for today. I hope my team was able to jump into the live chat with you and answer all of your questions. I hope you enjoyed this today. If you did, please go ahead and make sure that you boop that like button on the actual video, on the actual live training, so we can try to help as many other Etsy and e-commerce sellers as possible find things before they pop off. With that said, I also wanted to let you guys know we mentioned the trends in the wild concept a little bit earlier in this live live training. And that makes me excited to let you guys know that Trends in the Wild Part 2 is coming out in 2 weeks. So please go ahead and have your notifications on for this channel. Make sure that you are subbed to the channel because I'm going to go through Target. What was the other stores? Kohl's and where else did I go? Michael's. I was like, I went to 3 places, but I forgot. So Michael's, the craft store, Kohl's for apparel, and Target for a combination of pretty much everything. So that's going live in 2 weeks. And then next week, so July 24th at 10 a.m., so the exact same time that we have this normal weekly training, I actually convinced my good friend Cody McGuffey, the founder and CEO of EverBee, to come into our live stream with us next Thursday. He's going to talk about his vision for EverBee. He's going to talk about EverBee store. He's going to talk about like just being a CEO and an entrepreneur himself, because he was right in y'all's shoes, not like 6 to 7 years ago. And now he is the owner of a multi-million-dollar brand that we are all so in love with. So I'm super excited to have him come on our live stream next Thursday. Again, make sure that your noties are turned on for this channel so you don't miss it. And until then, I'll see you guys next week. Bye.